This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 255, Slow Wealth, the Fantasmic J.D. Roth interview, part 3 by Babauta of ZenHabits.net. And welcome back, everyone. I am Dan, and this is where I read to you from some of the best personal finance blogs on the planet. And today is Friday, so I'm going to keep this intro nice and short for you to give you a break at the end of the week. But if you enjoy the show, please do listen all the way through to the end. But for now, let's hear today's post, part 3. From Leo Babauta as we optimize your life. Slow Wealth, the Fantasmic J.D. Roth interview, part 3 by Leo Babauta of ZenHabits.net. Leo. Awesome analysis. So let's say I'm in stage 0 or I'm in the beginning of the first stage and things just seem hopeless for me. I'm in such debt and have so many bills and so little cash that just taking inventory or getting started seems too difficult. I just pile my bills in a corner and I want to forget about them. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. How do I even get started? How do I even find the courage to face this mess and find the motivation to take action? JD. This can be tough. First, you need to understand that you can do this. You can take control of your finances. It may take time and lots of hard work, but you can dig yourself out. I've done it, Leo has done it, and so have thousands of others, and we felt just as hopeless as you do. But knowing others have done it is much different than doing it yourself, right? I'm actually going through a similar struggle with my weight right now, and I think some of the things I've learned while trying to get fit are very applicable to similar financial situations. So in both cases, you need to, 1, get back to basics. There's a temptation when you're out of shape, physically or financially, to look for quick cure-alls, magic bullets that will solve the problem immediately. And that's not the way it works. There are certain well-known basics that can help you get in shape or get out of debt. In fact, that's basically what Your Money, the Missing Manual is all about, getting back to financial basics. 2, take one step at a time. I mentioned this earlier, but it's important. Too many people want to rush the process, but you didn't get fat overnight and you didn't end up broke overnight either. So take your time. Just as the right way to get healthy is to get fit slowly, the right way to build wealth is to get rich slowly. Don't be discouraged by occasional failures, but keep doing the right thing over and over. 3, finally, get help. If you truly feel overwhelmed, then don't go it alone. In my case, with fitness, I've joined a CrossFit gym where other like-minded people are there to provide encouragement. Most of these folks are already very, very fit, but that's okay. I don't feel like they're judging me. Instead, they're sharing what they've learned. The same is true with finances. Find a community that can support you. I like to think the readers at Get Rich Slowly make up one of the best financial communities on the web, and the Wall Street Journal agrees, by the way. But there are other places that you can go for help. Debtors Anonymous, the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, and so on. There's no shame in asking for help. Leo. One of the biggest challenges for someone trying to lead a simpler, more frugal life isn't just controlling your own actions, but dealing with others in your life, your spouse, for example, other family members, negative naysayers, people who want you to spend more in different ways. How do you deal with that? Was it hard to get your wife on board with drastic changes? Share some tips for our readers who are having trouble with this issue. JD. Great question. So Steve Pavlina calls these folks trolls, and I do too. There are all kinds of trolls. Some have chips on their shoulders, some cling to preconceived notions, and some just want to argue. The trick is realizing these people aren't worth your time. You have to learn to ignore them. Redirect the conversation, leave the room, hang up the phone. Whatever you do, don't argue. Anytime you argue with a troll, the troll wins. In some cases, ignoring the problem just doesn't work. What can you do about a partner who insists on sabotaging your family's financial security? How do you cope with your own compulsive spending? Problems like these may require the help of a trained professional like an accountant, lawyer, psychologist, or financial planner. In my own life, I was fortunate not to face many financial trolls. My wife was totally on board with my change. In fact, she'd been trying to goad me to improve my financial situation for years. Most of my friends were equally supportive. Instead, I was the troll in my own life. I did a lot of self-sabotage and it held me back. I've conquered the self-sabotage when it comes to money now, but I'm still struggling with this problem when it comes to food and fitness. Leo. Leading a frugal life is often seen as a difficult, perhaps boring life full of sacrifices of fun and comfort. Do you find that to be true in your experiences? JD. frugality does require sacrifices, but there's the thing. When you're frugal, you make short-term sacrifices of things that don't really matter for long-term rewards that do matter. For example, in my own life, some of my frugal choices included giving up television, borrowing books from the library instead of buying them, shopping for clothes at a thrift store, and reducing my comic book budget. I do love comic books. Yeah, it hurt to give these things up at first, but you know what? After a few months, I adjusted to my new situation and I wasn't any less happy than I'd been before. The sacrifices didn't seem like sacrifices, especially when I saw how quickly I was paying off debt. I found other ways to have fun that didn't cost money. For example, I have a huge library of books I've never read. Why buy new ones when I can just read the old ones? So I guess what I'm saying is that in the short term, frugality can seem painful, but when you realize that pinching pennies lets you save for the things that really matter, whether that is travel, a new home, or whatever, then frugality no longer seems like a sacrifice, but a conscious decision to choose a way of life that means more to you. You just listened to part 3 of the post, titled Slow Wealth, the Fantasmic J.D. Roth interview by Leo Babauta of ZenHabits.net. And if you have any comments about the post or want to share what you think, you can always comment on our episodes. You can comment over at oldpodcast.com and also find the link to the original article there as well. Now, before we head off for the weekend, we could really use your support to help keep these podcasts alive and well. We have a page set up over at oldpodcast.com/support that lists a bunch of simple things that you can do to help us out. So when you have a moment, please do come by and check it out. We would very much appreciate it. Again, that's at oldpodcast.com/support. And that's another successful week down here at Optimal Finance Daily. I'll be back at you with more posts for next week. So have a great weekend, and I will catch you on Monday, where your optimal life awaits.
Hello, Life Optimizer. This is Justin Malik, creator and producer of this podcast, but also Optimal Living Daily, the show where I read to you from even more blogs covering finance, productivity, minimalism, personal development, and more from incredible bloggers like Derek Sivers, Zen Habits, Mark and Angel, The Minimalists, and all the ones you hear on this show too. So if you enjoyed today's episode and like taking amazing blogs on the go, come on over to Optimal Living Daily and subscribe to that one too. And together, we'll start optimizing your life.
You've been listening to Optimal Finance Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode and head to oldpodcast.com. That's OLDpodcast.com for a free gift as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.